Heavenly Father, I come before you today with a heart that feels heavy with comparison. In a world of filtered photos and carefully curated moments, I find myself looking at my own family and seeing all the ways we don't measure up. Those perfect Instagram families with their matching outfits, spotless homes, and children who seem to never argue or disobey. Lord, I confess that I've allowed these images to become the standard against which I measure my own family's worth and my success as a mother and wife. I've forgotten that behind every perfect post is a real family with real struggles, real disagreements, and real messes, both literal and figurative. God of truth and authenticity, help me to embrace the beautiful reality of my imperfect family. The breakfast dishes still in the sink, the laundry piled high, the children who sometimes speak disrespectfully, the husband who doesn't always understand my needs without being told. These aren't signs of failure but evidence of real life being lived under our roof. You never promised us perfect families. You promised to be with us in the midst of our imperfection. You didn't call us to create Instagram-worthy moments. You called us to love one another deeply, to extend grace lavishly, to forgive quickly, and to grow together through both sunshine and storms. Lord, I think about Mary and Joseph, the family you chose to raise your son. They weren't perfect. They lost Jesus in Jerusalem for 3 days. They didn't understand everything he said and did. They weren't wealthy or influential or extraordinary by the world's standards. Yet they were exactly the family you selected. This reminds me that you see value and potential in ordinary families like mine, that you work through our weaknesses rather than despite them. You're not looking for perfection but for hearts that are open to your guidance and grace, for homes where your presence is welcomed and your name is honored. Father, I confess the anxiety that comparison has created in my heart. The constant feeling that I'm not doing enough, that my children aren't achieving enough, that our home isn't beautiful enough, that our family traditions aren't memorable enough. This anxiety steals my joy in the present moment, robs me of gratitude for what we do have, and blinds me to the unique beauty of my own family. It keeps me striving for an impossible standard rather than resting in your acceptance. Today, I choose to release this burden of comparison. I choose to see my family through your eyes rather than through the distorted lens of social media. God who sees in secret, remind me that the most important aspects of family life aren't the ones that can be captured in a photograph. The late-night conversations with a troubled teenager, the silent understanding between spouses after years together, the consistent boundaries that slowly shape character, the prayers whispered over sleeping children, the apologies offered after harsh words, the forgiveness extended after hurt feelings. These moments don't make it to Instagram, but they're the true measure of a family's health and strength. They're the invisible threads that bind us together in love, the hidden foundation upon which our family is built. Lord of grace and second chances, I thank you that in my family, we get to practice the art of beginning again. When tempers flare and words wound, when expectations go unmet and feelings get hurt, we have the opportunity to model repentance and forgiveness, to demonstrate what it looks like to repair relationship rather than abandon it. Each day is a new opportunity to love better, to listen more carefully, to respond more gently. This messy process of growth and reconciliation may not be Instagram-worthy, but it's teaching my children far more about love and commitment than a perfectly posed family photo ever could. Father, I bring before you the specific challenges my family is facing right now. The disagreements that seem to repeat themselves, the personality clashes that create friction, the outside pressures that leave us stressed and short-tempered, the unmet expectations that lead to disappointment. These challenges aren't evidence that we're failing as a family. They're opportunities for us to lean more heavily on your wisdom and strength. Give me discernment to know when to stand firm and when to compromise, when to speak and when to listen, when to protect and when to release. Help me to navigate these challenges with grace rather than perfectionism. God who designed family, remind me of the purpose behind this institution you created. Family isn't meant to be a performance for others to admire but a laboratory where character is formed, where faith is nurtured, where love is practiced in its most challenging forms. It's not about creating perfect children who never make mistakes but about raising adults who know how to recover from failure, who understand grace because they've received it abundantly, who can extend forgiveness because they've needed it themselves. It's about creating a safe place where real people can be authentically themselves, flaws and all, and still know they belong. Lord, I confess that I sometimes contribute to the very culture of comparison that wounds me. The carefully selected photos I share, the achievements I highlight, the struggles I hide. I too present a filtered version of my family life. Help me to be more authentic in how I represent my family, to be honest about our challenges as well as our victories, to be vulnerable about my own shortcomings as a parent and spouse. Not in a way that dishonors my family or overshares private matters, but in a way that gives others permission to embrace their own imperfect reality, that helps break the cycle of comparison and performance. Father of compassion, give me eyes to see the real struggles that may lie behind the perfect images others present. The mom who posts beautiful family photos may be fighting depression. The couple who seems so in love may be working through a serious breach of trust. The children who appear so accomplished may be crumbling under the weight of expectations. Let me extend the same grace to others that I desire for myself, to remember that everyone is fighting battles I know nothing about. Instead of comparing or envying, let me pray for and encourage the families around me, recognizing that we're all in need of your strength and wisdom. We have available in the first pinned comment a special paid ebook called Don't Think, Trust and Surrender, which can help alleviate the main symptoms of anxiety. Remember that this is not a substitute for specialized professional support. God who redeems, I thank you that you're able to work through and even use our family's weaknesses and failures. The arguments that teach us better communication, the misunderstandings that lead to deeper knowledge of one another, the disappointments that adjust our expectations to reality. All of these can be transformed in your hands from stumbling blocks to stepping stones. Nothing is wasted in your economy. Even our most painful family experiences can become the soil in which compassion, wisdom, and resilience grow. Help me to trust your redemptive work even when I can't see it, to believe that you're writing a beautiful story with our lives even when the current chapter is difficult. Lord of Peace, I ask for your calming presence in our home. When voices rise and tensions mount, when schedules collide and patience wears thin, breathe your peace into our chaos. Remind us to pause, to take a deep breath, to remember what truly matters. Help us to create rhythms of rest and connection in our family life, to prioritize relationships over tasks, people over performance. In a culture that values achievement and appearance above all, give us courage to choose a different path. One marked by presence rather than perfection, by authenticity rather than impression management, by love expressed in ordinary moments rather than extraordinary displays. Father who knows me intimately, help me to recognize and embrace my unique family culture. The inside jokes that make no sense to outsiders, the quirky traditions that have evolved over years, the particular ways we express love and resolve conflict, the values that guide our decisions. These elements combine to create a family identity that doesn't need to look like anyone else's. You've given each family distinctive gifts, personalities, challenges, and callings. Free me from the pressure to conform to some external ideal and help me instead to nurture the unique family you've entrusted to me, to steward well the particular blend of strengths and weaknesses that make us who we are. God of generations, I pray for perspective beyond this current season of family life. The sleepless nights with newborns, the exhausting years with toddlers, the emotional roller coaster with teenagers, the letting go of young adults. Each phase brings its own challenges and joys, its own opportunities for growth and connection. Help me to embrace the season we're in rather than wishing for what was or what will be. Remind me that difficult phases do pass, that the investment we're making now will bear fruit in years to come, that the legacy we're building is measured not in perfect moments but in faithful presence through all the seasons of family life. Lord who delights in diversity, thank you for the beautiful differences within my family. The extrovert who brings energy and the introvert who brings depth, the dreamer who sees possibilities and the pragmatist who sees practicalities, the risk-taker who pushes boundaries and the cautious one who provides stability. These differences often create friction, but they also create balance and strength. Help us to appreciate rather than merely tolerate our differences, to see them as complementary rather than competitive, to recognize that our family is richer and more resilient because we're not all the same. Give us patience with one another's unique pace, perspective, and process. Father of wisdom, Guide me in navigating the complex relationship between private family life and public perception. Give me discernment about what to share and what to keep sacred, about when transparency serves a purpose and when it merely feeds the comparison culture. Help me to be mindful of how my words and images might impact others, to share in ways that encourage rather than intimidate, that connect rather than compare. And when I do share glimpses of our family life, let it be with gratitude rather than pride, with authenticity rather than performance, with a desire to glorify you rather than ourselves. We have available in the first pinned comment a special paid ebook called Don't Think, Trust and Surrender, which can help alleviate the main symptoms of anxiety. Remember that this is not a substitute for specialized professional support. God, who sees the heart, help me to focus on the internal health of my family rather than its external appearance. The values we're instilling, the character we're developing, the faith we're nurturing, the relationships we're building. These matter infinitely more than how we look to others. A family can appear perfect in photos while being emotionally disconnected in reality. A home can be spotless but cold, organized but unwelcoming. Remind me that you look not at the outward appearance but at the heart. Give me courage to prioritize substance over style, connection over impression, authenticity over approval, even when doing so makes us appear less put together in the eyes of others. Lord of all comfort, I bring before you the pain of feeling like we don't measure up. The shame that creeps in when I compare our struggles to other successes, the inadequacy I feel when scrolling through images of seemingly perfect families, the fear that my children will be somehow damaged by my imperfections and limitations. This pain is real and deep, touching core questions about my identity and worth. Today, I receive your comfort and reassurance. You chose me for this family. You equipped me for this calling. You promised to complete the good work you've begun in us. My value as a parent, as a spouse, as a person is not determined by comparison to others but secured in your unchanging love. Father who understands, thank you that you know exactly what it's like to parent children who don't always appreciate your guidance, who sometimes rebel against your wisdom, who frequently misunderstand your intentions. You've experienced the heartache of loving imperfect people, of extending grace that isn't always received, of watching those you love make choices that hurt themselves and others. This shared experience comforts me deeply. You're not a distant deity observing my family struggles with detachment. You're a parent who intimately understands the joys and sorrows of family life. I can bring every frustration, every disappointment, every worry to you knowing that you truly understand. God of community, help me to build authentic relationships with other families who are willing to move beyond the highlight reels and share the blooper reels as well. I need friends who can laugh with me about the chaos, cry with me about the heartaches, pray with me about the challenges, and celebrate with me about the victories, both big and small. Protect me from relationships that increase comparison and competition, and lead me instead to connections characterized by vulnerability, empathy, and mutual support. In a culture obsessed with image management, let our family be part of creating spaces where real life can be shared without fear of judgment. Lord of joy and laughter, restore to me the ability to find humor in our family's imperfections. The ability to laugh when things go comically wrong, to see the absurdity in our most chaotic moments, to tell stories about our failures that end with laughter rather than shame. This gift of humor is a powerful antidote to perfectionism and anxiety, a way of acknowledging our humanity without being crushed by it. It transforms, "We're such a mess," from a statement of defeat to a recognition of our shared human condition. Help our family to laugh together often, to find joy in the journey rather than only in the destination, to celebrate progress rather than demanding perfection. Father, as I close this prayer, I choose to embrace the beautiful reality of my imperfect family. I reject the lie that we need to look or function like anyone else's family to be worthy of love and belonging. I receive your grace for our weaknesses and your strength for our challenges. I commit to creating a home where authenticity is valued above appearance, where mistakes are met with mercy, where differences are respected, and where your presence is the foundation of our security. Thank you for the specific family you've given me, with all its quirks and complications, its particular blend of strengths and struggles. It may not be Instagram perfect, but it's exactly where you've called me to love and serve. If this prayer has touched your heart today, please take a moment to like and share this video with someone who might need these words of encouragement. Remember that behind every perfect social media family is a real family with real struggles. Your willingness to embrace authenticity might be exactly what someone else needs to find freedom from comparison. Thank you for joining me in this time of prayer and reflection.